He risked his life for a book. What was inside? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Hidden History. Thank you for joining us. Picture this. It was an era, a time when the power of lords and dukes, kings and knights, still had sway over the villages thick with peasants. A time when the very thought of the avenging Turks sent a shiver down the spine of a continent already weakened by the scourge of plague and by the relentless 100 Years' War. In this time and in this place, the legends, tales of a certain Robin Hood and those fearsome marauding pirates were not just bedtime stories. They were living history. And in that swirling, dangerous world, there lived a young boy. His name was Will. In Will's childhood, a period called the Dark Ages, Western civilization was in a desperate struggle for survival. And yet, with each passing year, as young Will grew, so grew the hope of Europe's future. A seismic shift was underway. Christopher Columbus had opened the doors to a new world. Feudal factions were giving way to stable monarchies, and Will's well-connected family had a plan for him. They promised him the education of a man of influence, not just any education, but the very best in England. Think of the opportunities, endless opportunities for a well-schooled young man at the birth of a brand new era. So, in due time, young Will left his family and his home in Gloucestershire, England, to begin his studies. Where? At Oxford. He strode beneath those fabled walkways, studying the language and the literature of the ancients. He read of the Babylonians and the Persians, the Greeks and the Romans, and by the time he finished at Oxford, and then later at Cambridge, he was a real scholar. He was a scholar with a scholar's comprehension, a scholar's position, because waiting for him back home in Gloucestershire was employment with a wealthy, noble family. Will's hopes, his plans, his destiny, everything, it seemed, was ideal. Could anyone have a future so bright? But education, comfort, and stature, as it turned out, were not satisfying to the fledgling tutor, and as the days and the months passed, he yearned for new challenges. Within a year, Will's restless ambition introduced him to the London smuggler named Humphrey Monmouth. Under Monmouth's influence, Will plunged into a life of crime, with the very same tenacity he had exhibited at college. Now, once again, life became a thrill, a quest, a challenge. He knew his adventure, should he get caught, was punishable by death, and yet there seemed no turning back. For the longer Will labored in the manufacture and smuggling of his contraband, the more successful he grew. And the more successful he grew, the more hunted he became. At the young age of 32, Will was one of the most sought-after criminals in the hemisphere. And over the next 10 years, the scholar-turned-criminal was chased across Europe in a relentless game of cat and mouse. In every instance, Will outsmarted and evaded his pursuers, until one day, Will, the brilliant but notorious outlaw, was captured in the Belgian port of Antwerp. And so, it is recorded that Will, who had abandoned a life of luxury to become an outlaw, William Tyndale, was strangled and then burned at a stake for illegally writing, publishing, and smuggling the first English translation of the Holy Bible. Take care, everybody, and thank you for watching. God bless.